connect real quick about being remote retail ready. And I'm gonna give you 3 reasons. And what brought this to my mind, just being transparent, is as we look behind, if you can, it might be hard to see right now, but across the South, Memphis, Texas, around these areas, we got hit with some serious snow. But when the South gets snow, just so you know, it's a little different. Like for some reason, sometimes the ice doesn't get laid down as much, but we're not going to even talk about that. Let's talk about real quick about being remote retail ready and the benefits that it could have for your business. So number one reason that I would say you might want to consider being remote retail ready is your employee experience factor. So think about the flexibility that it offers your employees when they have that option to maybe not be fully remote, but having the option to actually be remote. It sounds familiar. It's kind of like digital retailing with customers and whatnot. It's all about options, not just going one way or the other. But being remote retail ready for your employees gives them that opportunity for if they have children, if they have, let's say, doctor's visits some days, or maybe, or weather, whatever. They don't have to worry about getting out in the field or doing something like that. They can actually be remote, right? So second reason that you might want to be remote retail ready, and I've wrote these down, is think about another situation that could happen. So we know a big situation that happened a few years ago that caused a lot of us to be remote retail ready. But what about something else that could happen? Think about other things outside of weather. There could be other things that could happen at your establishment. So I know one store, large dealer group, is redoing their service department. So they're adding a bunch of bays, doing a lot of things. When that happens, there's a lot of disruptions on how certain employees can get there. It also disrupts where people can park. But then also, like, there's a couple of days where they almost had to shut the place down to get things done. Well, being remote ready allows your team to still be able to connect and work with people no matter what situation is going on, whether it be the weather, whether it be a pandemic or whatever that thing is. But having a culture that's ready to be remote retail ready, not just surprise, hey, we need you to work from home, offers a huge benefit to the next person, which is my third point, is your customers. So number one, we said employee experience. Number two, we said to be ready for circumstances we're not planned for or that we're not ready for. But the third one is that customer experience. So what do I mean by this? Well, we all know what it's like when you call into a store, ring, 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 and nobody's answering. That still happens a lot in 2023. Well, the part about the customer experience factor is that in 2023, we're not just subject to what's in our backyard. Right? So what I mean by this is that many of you are helping customers that are across all over the United States, some of you global. I'll give you an example, real talk. I was at a store, it was a Genesis store, and they sold a customer all the way that was in Washington State, and they're all the way down here in the South because of the customer experience factor, that they were like, well, if my local store isn't going to treat me as well, I'll just go ahead and find a place that has it and they can just deliver it to us. So knowing that your backyard is not just your current community, but your community could be the entire country, it's just as important to make sure that you're remote retail ready for your customer experience. So I hope this was helpful. So if you're kind of in between that gap, because I normally sometimes people look at me a little crazy, certain dealers and GMs and people, when I talk about being remote retail ready for their internet departments or their BDCs or whatever. But I say this because over 26%, the most recent stat I looked at before I recorded this, 26% of the United States is working remote or at some capacity. So we know it's not the majority. But what I look at is you can attract better employees. Your customers, I think they will also appreciate it, connecting with somebody that says, hey, you're remote, I'm remote. Imagine 2 remote people connecting with each other to sell a car. And there's a lot of companies that are actually doing that. But what I mean for that local dealer, just be thinking about it. Get with your team, connect with them and say, hey, does it make sense for us to start talking about remote options? And then just lay it down, have a playbook, have your accountability and how we're going to do that. But normally going the remote route offers a benefit to both the employee, that company, to the customers, and then overall, just I think the collective experience. So I hope this helps. Thank you so much. and look forward to connecting with you soon. Take care.